Joe Hart, honestly, Daniel, I'm glad you mentioned it because I think there's been a narrative that's grown around Joe Hart that he's finished, he's become a liability, and it's just so wrong. I honestly think Celtic need to be careful here with Joe Hart, that they don't make the same mistake that they made 3 or 4 years ago with Craig Gordon. When he was allowed to leave, walk out the door, thinking that his best years were behind him, and he went on to prove that that was far from the case. And in his place came completely untested Vasilis Barkas, and we all know how that one ended. You could say it went a long way to costing them the title when Rangers won it 3 years ago. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch. But look, there's this perception that Hart's done, and it's ludicrous. Yes, there's the odd flap it across. Show me a goalkeeper that doesn't. I've seen Jack Butland do it twice in the last couple of weeks, and I've seen him against Aberdeen in there. But Joe Hart, look, he's 36, be 37 in the summer. He looks in peak fitness to me. As you rightly said, still pulling off massive saves. I remember an injury time against Ross County when they won 1-0. There was a couple against Aberdeen, which finished 1-1. A couple against Hibs last week, 2-1 win. And again, at a key moment in a 1-0 win over St Mirren. These are all massive moments. And that's what good goalkeepers do for big clubs. Not to forget the saves he made against Rangers in the New Year game as well. So he's got a massive contribution in the last month or two for Celtic as they're starting to turn the corner. I mean, beyond that, you've got a consummate professional. I think Rodgers has stated rightly that he's a huge influence in the dressing room. He's calm in the eye of the storm in the big games. I don't want to overplay that Joe Hart doesn't have a few flaws, but at this level, what Celtic need right now, I think, is ideal. And if they're going into a new season next year, if he's allowed to leave, you've got Scott Bain and Benji Siegrist. I don't know what's happened to Benji Siegrist. He was a great goalkeeper for Dundee United a couple of years ago. But if you're going in with those two and a new guy is expected to hit the ground running, then it's a massive gamble. For me, I think Hart, if he was up for it, deserves another year. So you've got a steady Eddie there and let him and a new guy, because you've got to plan for the future, of course you have, but let him and a new guy fight it out for the number one shot, because Hart has proved in the last couple of months that he's still a huge contributor to Celtic.
And he's only, he turns 37 in April.
Yeah.
For a goalie, he's not particularly old.
There's 3 or 4 older than him in the Premiership. It's not. It doesn't matter about the age, really. He's fit. He looks fit, and you just know he's an ultimate professional and looks after himself. And I hope I'm not teeing him up for a massive fall in his next game, but I've been hugely impressed with him of late.
And see, Fraser mentioned Butland there, Nick. Butland, there's been England talk this week. Apparently he is on Gareth Southgate's radar. And if he is, I get he's 30, and as we say, Joe Hart's 37, but if he's on the radar, I mean, Joe Hart is every bit as good as Butland, I would suggest, and he's got a lot more experience. I don't know, it seems a bit odd, that one.
Listen, England could do it. Like, I don't care what England do, to be honest with you. I mean,
excellent point.
Now, to be honest, I'm no fussed about what England pick, who their number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 45 is. Honestly, I mean, Joe Hart, I think, I agree with Fraser. He's a little bit of a kind of undervalued at times. It was a guy with 75 caps for England, won titles with Man City. He's got one of the records for clean sheets in the English Premier League, won the Golden Gloves or something like that for 3 or 4 years. He's a top operator. I mean, you can tell he's a big presence in that dressing room as well, which is, I think, at this point in time, is even more important than the saves. Because this is a Celtic squad that's quite young, quite inexperienced, losing a lot of key men to injury. I think Joe Hart and Callum McGregor are dragging this side at times.